What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here. In this training, we're going to talk about the AP exam study plan. So, what we're going to cover today is one, the ideal study timeline. We're going to talk about the proven strategies that top scorers have done in the past. There's a lot of our own students that have gotten like fours and fives in their exams that kind of pulled a lot of them before and kind of asked them. So, this is it's a compilation, right? Of a compilation of kind of what they have shared with us. Yeah, I can kind of share the knowledge with you all. And then how you balance this with other things. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end. If it's joining us live, we're recording this live right now, go ahead and let me know what grade you are in the chat. Go ahead and just drop your grade. If you are a 12th, drop a 12, 11, drop 11, 10, drop a 10, 9, drop a 9. 99% sure most of you guys are in high school. If not, if you're younger than that, you're preparing early, feel free to drop a 876 or even community college as well too on here, right? By the way, community college, you shouldn't be here. Is that girl? You're done with these exams, these type of tests, these type of classes as well. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the Q&A box. We'll go ahead and answer them at the end. Today, I kind of focus today on a lot more Q&A kind of focus talked as well too. Then stuff we're gonna kind of quickly go through the material and kind of answer some questions for you guys here. Okay. So if we are recording this session, so in case you guys want the notes, wants the recordings, give us about 48 hours time of this recording. If you're watching the replay, it's live. But for those who are joining me live right now, within 48 hours, we'll have it ready. In the chat, looks like we have a lot of older, upperclassmen as well. So a lot of 11th graders, a lot of 12th graders as well, and even a few 10th graders. Got one ninth grade, right? The superstar is like an AP in ninth grade as well too. If it's a very first time meeting, my name is Coach Tony. I'm actually a former UC Berkeley admissions reader, former UCA director, and we've been helping students with the college admissions process for the last 16 years. So a lot of the material in this call is actually from our own students, right? So again, not a lot of stuff here we didn't kind of make up as well too. Kind of asked our own students the last 2-3 weeks of their feedback. So this is just like a compilation of kind of the results and the answers that our students kind of gave us going into this session here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First off is why, right? Why do you want to do well on these AP exams? Just a little context for those who are taking AP classes. You're taking the AP class probably right now. If you're watching this training, you're probably taking it right now in the month of May. Every student in the month of May, you will be taking your AP exams, right? Your AP exams is out of 5 points, right? 3 is passing, but sometimes you might need a 4, sometimes you might need a 5 to actually get credit. So let's talk about that as well. So the first part is that for college prep, it's going to help you get the skills for the rigor of college. Again, one thing a lot of students don't know, I don't know for what reason, college is hard, right? So college is hard. It's not supposed to be easy, is the thing. A lot of students, for some reason, think I'm gonna make it through high school and then relax. I'm like, no, 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 that's not kind of how college works. You're preparing yourself for the rigor of college, and that's kind of why these AP courses are typically a little harder, right? That's why not everyone is gonna do super well in these classes, because it is challenging. It is a challenging class. The idea of it is going to go ahead and help you prepare for the rigor of college, especially for those of you guys who are aiming for top schools, right? UC schools, aiming for even Ivies or top private schools. College is hard. There's a reason why, if you looked it up, not everyone graduates in 4 years. Some people drop out. Some people get kicked out. It's because they couldn't handle the rigor at the college there. So the AP level courses kind of prepares you for this type of rigor that you will expect once you guys get there. The next thing is the competitive advantage, right? The AP class is a rigorous course. Right? How we define rigor is not, there's like how difficult is your schedule. Kind of going back to the last point, it shows you how prepared you are. But right, if you can show me, hey, I can do a few hard classes this year, and that's more than your peers at your school, then you have a competitive advantage to them as well too. So that's the big thing about these AP exams, that you're taking these hard classes and you're doing well to showcase yourself, right? Is the biggest thing here. Keep in mind, the AP exams are also almost like a standardized test, like the SAT or the ACT. Those two exams are not required for some schools. They're optional for some others. Only required for I think like a handful, like under 100 schools now ish at the time of this recording. Around 100 schools take it as required, but most schools still have it optional and blind. These exams allow you to kind of put like a blank standardized statement against everyone, meaning everyone took exam. I place this amongst everyone else. Okay. Next one is saving. This is probably the big one if you want to think of it this way, right? So every exam that you pass, what that means is that when you go to college, you don't have to take that class again. What not a lot of people know is that in college, you repeat high school one more time, meaning, right? You're once, let's say you go to college, whatever school you end up going to, your first 2 years in college, you're going to be taking your math again, your English again, your history again, your science again. You're doing all of the general education courses that you did in high school one more time when you get to the college. However, if you pass the AP exam for that class, they're going to give you that credit. So instead of taking history at the college, because you passed AP World, AP Euro, AP US history, that will get you the credit for that class. And then when you go to college, you don't have to take that class again. That's the whole purpose of these exams is to exempt you out of taking these classes again, right? So when you think about, we did some quick little math here, right? If you think about how much the credit costs, right, depending on the school, these are just like a big range of numbers. A typical student, I would say, takes around 13-ish units, right? 13-ish units per semester, multiply by two, like 24 to 26 units per year as well too, and you calculate how much you're paying for college there. It roughly equates like 350 to $1,200 per unit, right? Per credit of college class as well too. So if you pass a class, and keep in mind, some of these classes get you 3 units, 5 units as well too. When you multiply it out, right, you're saving a lot of money. It's more for parents, right? For parents, saving you some money. So you're the better your child does on these exams, the less you'll pay, meaning which means the less class they have to take in college, which means potentially you could graduate early, right? So with enough AP units, they should have enough, let's say for 13 units, that's like 3, 4 classes. If you can get 3, 4 classes done, in theory, you could graduate early if you wanted to. That's kind of the logic how this works here. So that's kind of the convincing you all why you want to do well on the AP exams, right? Now, what are the tips? So these, again, I mentioned these are the tips that we pull from some of our students as well. So first one is we call it active versus passive learning, right? So when it comes to the learning material here, right? A lot of people that like to learn passively, meaning, and it's like 99% of students, meaning you read a book, you read a textbook, you do the homework, and you're done. And to be fair, again, if you're watching this training, your child's probably, right, pretty smart, right, of doing what they're doing. So then for a lot of our students, that's all they need. Hey, I just need to read the book a little bit, need to do a textbook a little bit, do some practice problems, and I'm good. And they think that's gonna take them all the way, because again, they were smart. Growing up, they were smart. That's all they had to do, right? To get decent grades, to do really well in their classes. However, however, these two, just reading and writing, reading and stuff, activates the first level of learning. It's one of those things that when you start understanding how the brain works and how psychology and how students educate, like this, like the study of education, right? The pedagogy, right? The idea is this only activates the first level of learning, right? The second level of learning is active, meaning can you do something with it? That's why, fun fact, why your kids have homework, right? Homework to do every single night is because they're learning it, but they're doing something about it. They're writing something, they're putting something together. You're using the material to kind of put in different ways. That's how your brain retains it more, is the biggest thing there, right? There's a third level of learning that I didn't share on here. That's teaching, right? So there's the passive, the active, and there's the teaching factor. That's why I don't think I have it in these slides, but one of the tips that we have for a lot of our students is to form a study group. When you form a study group with your friends, right? The part of the study group is you're going to go ahead and learn from others, which is one nice perk. At the same time, you get to teach others, right? We're not just telling students to do it just to do it for no reason, right? The idea of this is for you, because once you teach it, that's how you fully master the material, right? The reason why I am so confident teaching a lot of this stuff is I've said this over and over and over and over for so many years now that it's not like, oh, I'm making it up for the very first time. Maybe I was a lot shaky the first time, but as I do it more and more and more and more and more, you get better. That's why when I tell you guys, oh, what's one plus one? We don't think as hard. We're like, oh, that's two. We know that right away. Why? Because you've done it so many times. You've done it. You've written it out in school. You've taught a student, a child, someone else, hey, one plus one is two. You're able to master that material as well. Think about anything you do. Parents who are watching this as well too, right? Think about stuff you're teaching others. And when you're able to teach someone something, you're able to master it for yourself too. That's kind of the ultimate level of learning. So when it comes to this material, the AP exams have a lot of things in them, right? Not only do we want our students to do passive learning, not just active, but if they can do activate the last one, which is teaching, again, study groups will be a really awesome way of doing it too. Okay. The other thing here our students have shared is do official resources, right? So what does this mean, right? So a lot of the exams I mentioned is standardized, meaning a lot of the stuff we do to prep for the SAT, ACT also applies back here. Meaning, right? A lot these exams, these AP exams is given out by College Board, the same people who give you the SAT. If those of you who have not seen this yet, on the College Board website, if the students create an account on there, they're able to access past tests, they're able to access resources, and studying from College Boards is really awesome because they're the ones who write your actual test, right? It's like saying, hey, how do you know the answer? The people who are giving you the answers helping you prepare for that as well too. So a lot of times we tell our students go back to the people who give the exams for you, which is the College Board, right? You can take them. There's other resources there also. There's Princeton Review, there's Kaplan, all these other companies. There's Barron's another big one as well. Could you do it? You can. And by the way, to prep for these, a lot of people self-study for these exams a lot. That's usually what I see a lot of our students do when they study these books. You can buy these books for like $20, $30 a book, and it's a crash course. It's a crash course on what you need to know on the exam itself. Keep in mind, these tests are no surprises, right? People think like, oh my goodness, how to do well. They tell you exactly what they're going to test you on, right? All these tests tell you exactly I'm going to test you on these things. And then the big ones, the FRQs. The FRQs, the free response questions. These are the open-ended ones, right? So there's a multiple choice section on these exams, but there's also the FRQs where they're giving you an open response. If it's like a math, they're giving you a big problem with a lot of different steps they wanted you to show. If it's like a history one, you're probably writing an essay and your FRQ as well. So what you want to do is, again, use the results. Look at students who've actually written these in the past, see what score they got. College Board has these resources, right? Other test prep people have these resources as well too. One kind of fun resource I'll throw in here, it's like a fun little tidbit as well too, is going to be Khan Academy. Khan Academy has now grown and offered a bunch of resources. They have a partnership with College Board directly. As a result of that, a lot of the prep material is offered on the Khan Academy, and it's free, right? So can't really complain there. It's a free resources here as well, right? Again, the AP you'll see in the month of March and April, which is like, again, if you're watching this live, coming up really soon, you'll see that under the portal of the AP website, they're going to have different resources for you. AP Daily, AP Classroom. They also do live classes, live crash courses as well too. So again, you can't say, oh, I can't learn. These websites, the College Board directly have crash courses for you to help you prepare for these exams. It's all free. You don't have to pay for these usually as well too. Okay, so that's probably the biggest thing I would recommend if you're looking for a paid resource as well too. I have a friend who is not affiliate. They didn't sponsor me to say this as well too. I just know the owner, the founder is really cool. Marco Learning com. I know him. If you guys go with him, make sure tell him I said hi. John, he's the owner. Tell him I said hi. But then Marco Learning focuses on affordable AP prep. So if you guys are interested in that, he's really awesome. They have a lot of resources. If you want to check them out, marcolearning.com. They're a really awesome resource for all AP prep as a whole. Okay. Now, What's the timeline though, right? So again, the reason why we're doing this training right now, middle of February, is now is a perfect time to start ramping it up. So let's kind of break it down. When it comes to AP success, we usually tell our students this. There's kind of three phases of prep. And by the way, fun fact, this can apply to a bunch of other things you guys are doing in this process too, right? So number one is the content, right? First things first, you need to understand the content. If you're doing the SAT, by the way, this is very similar to the SE or the ACT as well too. You have to understand the content. If you don't know the content, it's really hard to get a decent score on the exam itself. That's why, if you notice in your AP classes, they're wrapping up everything around this month, next month, right? Because they're trying to get all the material for you before it's like cram time, which is around this season, February, March. So if a lot of students in our AP exam classes, you're noticing, wow, I just finished the entire course with like months to go for the rest of the school year. Or if you look at the curriculum of what is being tested on the AP exams, you'll notice that pretty much majority of the tested topics already taught. The next few months of AP that you're learning at your school are all like optional topics because it's not tested on the exam itself, right? So keep it optional, by the way, it means they're not gonna test it at all. So you can kind of ignore it. Do well for school to get a good grade, but they're not gonna test you on the section. And you'll notice a lot of AP classes, a lot of AP classrooms, they don't actually like go too hard into this. They want to make sure you have the core foundation done. Then, right, you want to practice, right? There's 1 or 2 months, by the way. Now is this, we're now, if you're watching this live, we're in between phase one, phase two right now. And the exam is March and May every year. So if you work backwards, we're around in this phase right now where we're starting to transition from the content to the practice. And then in the month of April, late April, that's when we do final review and study and some strategy as well, too, right? Excuse me. Breaking it down. Right, January, February, what you want to do is you want to focus on what you don't know, right? So what don't you know yet? So look at again, the AP exam will tell you everything you need to know that they will test you on. So go through the big ones, strategically look at the ones with the most percentage, right? The ones that say, oh, we might ask you one question of this. Don't stress out too much on that. But if they say, hey, 30% of your exam is on this topic, we gotta make sure we know that 30 because that's a big chunk of the exam, right? So again, usually our students go back to their textbooks. Their textbooks, are usually correlated with that as well too, and video lessons. Again, College Board has all these for free. So if your school, some schools didn't do a great job of teaching you, then College Board has a resource to teach you the rest. Or again, these test prep books you can pick off Amazon, $20, $30. They also cover all this as well. So the goal here, cover everything. You should have a working understanding of every single topic there. Okay, so that's the first one. Then, as you move on to phase number two, like I mentioned, we're in between phase one and phase two right now. You want to figure out what your weakness is, right? What can you do to improve, right? As well too. That's kind of that big one. The ones you know, you already know. You don't have to review that again. It's what can we do to improve our scoring and being strategic now. Which one is the biggest chunks that will cover the most part of the exams? That's what you want to do. Now you'll start seeing a lot of students do a lot more practice problems in this phase as well, right? Practice problems you can find on College Board, you can find on the test books that you guys buy. In theory, I'm not gonna say to do it, but if you Google, I bet you can probably find some resources as well to help you with this. Some sample free response questions in the past with solutions, some sample older exams, right? I'm not saying you should do that, but in theory, hypothetically, right, it could exist. Check those out as well too if you can. And then that's the big thing. The idea here is you want to get good at the questions, right? Last phase here is going to be the cram. This is the final part as well too. This is where timing is the most important, not just the content, but the timing. You'll see that at the end of the day, this is a standardized test with time, meaning you only have so much time per exam that you need to make sure you can cram everything in, right? Because again, if you had all the time in the world, you could probably get a really good score. But because of the time limit, you don't have that much time to do this. So taking full length tests and then timing yourself and then reviewing. Here's the key though, right? Target review weak areas. Review what you got wrong. This is the biggest thing. A lot of our coaching students tell us every single April, I'm doing so many practice tests, my score has not improved. And then our coaches will tell them like, hey, look at the questions you got wrong in that first test. Look at your second test. Are they the same questions that you got wrong? And if the answer is yes, that's not a good sign. That means you didn't learn anything, right? Because the idea, the strategy that we tell our students is that you should never make the same mistake twice on an exam. Meaning, if let's say you're taking a calculus exam, right? AP Calculus AB, and you're doing a derivative problem, right? Do a derivative problem, you get it wrong on the first time. That's fine. You got it wrong. Let's learn why we got it wrong. Let's learn why there were some trap answers there. Then when you transition to test number two, you shouldn't get that question wrong again because you already learned it. You may get different questions wrong, right? Which is fine. Then we learn that one. So each practice test you should get better. And we've seen takes three, right? Takes only three full-length practice tests, and you'll cover 99% of the questions the exams will test you on. So once you hit three, as long as you're learning from each one, that is good to go. Okay. And then specific ones, though, some specific exams. So there's different things for each exam that you may have a little tweak a little bit. So first one, there are some content heavy things, memorization, right? So the histories, there's a lot of memorization, a lot of biology, a lot of memorization. It's all memorization for biology, right? This one, the sooner you can start, the better, just because more repetition will keep in your brain. Again, for this, cramming doesn't help too much because there's so much stuff to memorize. That's the thing. So the earlier you start, the better is all. Focus on memorization techniques. You guys can Google and try to find some awesome ones out there. Big ones, mnemonics is kind of what I recommend. A lot of our students look it up. Mnemonics has a letter M in there, right? Mnemonics to focus on just trying like remembering patterns here, right? If it's a skill-based thing, so like math or languages, right? Practice is your biggest thing. So get past learning, but practice problems is probably the most important thing that you want to focus on the most, right? And last one is the hybrid ones, a mix of both, right? So it's not just pure memorization, it is some of that, but it's also some of like the math applied ones. Then you combine together the chemistry, like econ as well. That ones you have to understand. So those ones, the understanding of why it is. Because could you memorize? You could, but by memorization, you're gonna forget some stuff, right? So for us, is understanding why that's the way it is. Oh, once you understand why it's the way it is, you're able to kind of go back and kind of put things, click things together there. Okay. Basically, last thing here before we bounce into some Q&A afterwards is again, our big thing is working smart. So how do you work? So we just work backwards from the timeline, right? All of us are taking the exams in May. There's 2 weeks blocked out of that. You guys should know when your exams are. It's all out already. I think it's out already. So if you don't know, talk to your teachers, look it up online. Everyone is taking the same test at the same time. That's kind of how crazy it is, right? So go ahead and check it out. And then you'll see, so work backwards, right? And the ones that you need more help on, spend more time. I think that the biggest thing is being prepared. Don't wait till April. A lot of students like, you know what? I have a few more months till April. April will come and you're like, holy moly, I'm not ready. Versus now, this is like February if you're watching this live right now, right? You still have some time. Now's a good time, like, hey, what do I need to work on? What areas? Maybe this subject I'm really good at, right? Maybe my Spanish is really good. I don't have to prep too much there. Let me save some time here. Let me double down. Maybe my history is not that great. My Lang, AP Lang is not that good. Let me focus more on those areas there. So the idea is working backwards. And again, planning ahead, know there's things in play. There's spring break coming up for a few of you guys, right? In a few weeks as well, too. There's some holidays coming up. There's family things coming up. There's trips that you guys will probably do as well. So keeping all this in mind, right? So when you work backwards, you guys will get to where you guys want to be. Okay. That being said, that wraps up this training here today. A lot of resources online. If you guys are interested in resources, I try to get my call. I couldn't get it done in time, but if you guys are interested, I'm putting together a quick little like a reference sheet of like, hey, these exams, here's different things. Here's different things to kind of go to as like resources in case you guys need help with that. So if you guys are interested in that, just text the word resources, AP resources as well too. Our team doesn't have it yet, so don't expect it right away. I'll probably be done by Wednesday. I'll send it out if you guys want to text that. But for anyone who is new, who's not yet part of our coaching family, if you guys are interested in a free 15-minute assessment with our team, see if we can help you guys out, plan out this test prep season, or help you guys with anything else, go ahead and text the word coach 949-298-6234. Again, it's 949-982-6234. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna wait a little bit, give a little Q&A for those who have questions, and we'll take it from there. All right, someone says, what happens when you have two exams on the same day? That comes up a lot, by the way. So sometimes, if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, your exams are really scattered, meaning you have one on a Monday and a Friday and then next Friday, which means you have a lot of time in between to prep for each exam kind of individually. But if you're kind of unlucky, right, which happens every year, where two exams are back to back, same day, right? If it's same one day, next day, a little different. But some students are just unlucky, same day exams as well, then you kind of have to study both. And then it comes down to time management, right? You have to figure out when do you want to study each one. Hopefully, one of them you're really strong in, the other one you need to prep more on, and you want to dedicate your time accordingly, right? It shouldn't be equal. You know you best, right? Is the biggest one. Again, keep in mind, a lot of the exams have practice tests online, or they have practice tests on books or anything else as well too. A lot of students self-study these exams every single year as well. So it's not like it's impossible. The idea is, what are we going to do to get to what we need to do well on these exams is all. Another question here. How do I prep for AP pre? A lot of questions like how you prep for this test, this, that. Yeah, I think that's what the resources I'm going to compile will have for you guys. Of like, here, try these things, resources as well too, because it works for everyone. Some people, again, the topic I didn't talk too much about tutors, right? Should you get a tutor for the exam? I think it depends on you. Is this going to be the biggest factor in the admissions process? No, it's not the biggest factor in the admissions process. If you think from a business point of view, schools don't want you to pass because you'll take it at their school. You pay them more money is all. So every class you finish here is less money for them. But again, it can always help, right? So that doesn't mean don't do well either. Try to do the best as you can there. Okay. Someone asked, is there a difference between a 4 and a 5 on the exam, right? So the quick answer is no, right? The quick answer is no, but here's a more detailed answer for you guys. So the score that you get depends on your goals per se, because you'll see that every school that you're applying to, they have different goals of what a passing score is. So you guys know a 3 is a passing score. So if you got a 3, right, you celebrate, yes, I got a passing score. Sometimes that 3 might not get you college credit, right? So do a quick example of that. So those who are here live with me, can you guys drop me a college in the chat? Any college you can think of in the chat, and I'll show you a live example of this as well. All right, UCLA. UCLA was the first school I saw, right? So what you guys want to look up, whatever school is, right? AP validation. That's kind of what you want to do, right? On your end, type of school, AP validation. And then what this will show up is that it's going to tell you what score on the AP exam gets you what credit at that school. So again, you can do whatever school you want to do, right? And you'll find it out there. So for here, right, you'll see here, what does this mean? So this means, let's say I took an art history AP exam. I took an art history AP exam. If I got a 3, I'm going to get my 8 units, right, for this as well at UCLA. If I get a 4 or I get a 5, I get my 8 units. So this one doesn't matter, right? So same thing on here. Bio, if I get a 3, 4, or 5 on my AP bio exam, it's going to get me 8 units. It's not going to count for any class though. Look at that. Unassigned. It's not going to give me any classes, right? But it's going to give me 8 units. Ooh, interesting, right? Next one, chemistry. Let's say you're taking the AP chemistry exam. If you get a 3 on the exam, you passed, right? You passed the exam. When you go to UCLA, it's going to give you 8 units for intro to chem, right? But if you get a 4 or a 5, it's going to give you 8 credits and credit for general chem. What's the difference there? These at UCLA, these are two different classes, and usually intro chem becomes general chem. Intro chem, general chem, and flows in chem. Organic chemistry is a third class as well too, right? So let's say you get a 3 on the AP chemistry exam, you make it into UCLA, you go to UCLA, and your major requires that you finish general chem. You didn't get the credit. You have to go and take general chem at UCLA to get the credit there. let's say, for example, you went to UCLA, you got a 4, and you need general chem, you're done, because that's kind of what that means here. And you'll see, right? Some schools, a 3, a 4, or 5 is good, but some of them, the score does matter, right? This one, a 3 will get you econ 4 units, but this one, a 4 or 5, will get you credit for econ 2. Right? Do you just need econ credit, or do you need a class econ too? And that's the big difference. Let's try for example here. French. There's 3 different levels of French. You get a 3 on the French, they'll give you credit for French 4, the class French 4. You get a 4, you get a credit for French 5. 5, you get a French 6. So depending on how well you do on this exam, you may earn different credits when you get to the school itself. That's what these credits mean. So again, what is that? What's the takeaway for us? Just get a 5. You get a 5, you're good with everything, right? It's much easier to say that than actually do it. But that's the general takeaway. You get a 5, you see, you get every credit. Anything you can think of, you get the maximum amount of credits for that specific thing. Okay. That's pretty much it. Same thing out here. Math, right? You get 3 on math, you get credit for calculus, and that's it. Or if you took 4, you get credit for math 31A. If you take 5, you get math for 31A and 31B. So if you need to take both of those and you got a 5 in the BC exam, you're done with those 2 classes. Just a little teaser for you guys. This is how you can speed up college, or it takes longer because a lot of these classes are sequential, right? You need to take Calc 1 to get to Calc 2 to get to Calc 3. You can't go out of order. So this one will take, and UC's are a quarter system, or UCLA's quarter system, right? So let's say you only got a 3 on the AP exam, and your major, you need 31A, 31B, and Calc 3, for example. You'd have to spend 1 quarter in 31A, 1 quarter in 31B, then your semester in 3. So that's a year that's kind of pushed back because you didn't pass your AP exams itself. Okay. Awesome. Perfect. That's pretty much the takeaway of this call. If you guys are interested in booking a free session, go ahead and tap it here. Not tap it here. Go ahead and text the word coach on the screen. We'll go ahead and set you up with a free 15-minute chat with our team here. Okay. That's pretty much it for me. You have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll see you guys on the next training.